It's a beautiful Wednesday afternoon, and I warmly welcome you to the studios of Poly TV Ilaro. It's time once again for That Your Tonic, that program, that educative program. We call it Newspaper Review and Analysis. My name is Femi Afolabi, and I have seated with me our regular public affairs analyst, regular analyst here. I'm talking about Mr. Simon Fakeye. Mr. Fakeye is a publisher, he's a veteran journalist, and of course, he's a public affairs analyst, like I mentioned. You're welcome to the studios once again.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Today we will begin on a political note. Okay. And when you see what is happening on the front page of our newspapers, you discover that the politicians are upping their game again. This time around, something that was not expected of them is trying to play up. Let's begin. I take the story from the front page of a Daily Trust newspaper. Daily Trust says, parties move against Electoral Act. Parties move against Electoral Act. There was an inter-party advisory council meeting with INEC yesterday, and they rose rejecting some provisions of the Electoral Act. They are calling on government to revisit the Electoral Act with a view to writing another one out to midwife the upcoming 2027 election. Are you surprised?
Yeah. The type of human being they are, so I wouldn't be surprised. But it is just unfortunate that we have this type of individuals championing the cause of democracy in Nigeria. By now, the issue of Electoral Act ought to have been laid to rest. But it's unfortunate, as I said, that they are still on it. And when you look at what exactly are their problems in these Electoral Acts, you find it disturbing that IPAC and the Nigerian politicians are not happy with the fact that INEC wanted a system of primaries where there is limit to the level of corruption. Because the issue of indirect primaries and direct primaries is all about corruption, from my opinion. We all know that indirect primary is about delegates representing the whole party. And we've witnessed in the previous elections that the delegates, except we want to deceive ourselves, it's all about when they go on, where they are selected as member of the delegates, they are given huge amount of money. That is that. That will allow candidates who are well-to-do to get their way easily, even though they are not the people's choice. But because they have the money to buy the delegates, they easily have their way. I think that is what the 2026 Electoral Act is trying to prevent this time around. That lets the voice of the people count. Let everybody, direct primary, come, all party members, go and line up and vote for the person of your choice. But politicians who I believe they have ulterior motive are pushing for indirect, a situation where they can buy the whole party at the expense of good governance. So, as I said, that is one of it. The second one is the issue of the NIN, that they don't want INEC to insist on the issuance of INEC, that whoever is going to become voters at primaries must present his or NIN. IPAC said no. Nigerian politicians say no. Then you ask them, do you have somebody who doesn't have NIN or is not a Nigerian to vote for you? And implicitly, that is what is going to play out. They just want any way possible to manipulate the coming election. So, by and large, I don't agree with them. They are pushing for the review of the Electoral Act. I will encourage INEC to insist, to stand on this decision, on its toe, to ensure that the rule of law is sacrosanct in the coming election. So it depends on the president and the INEC. But as for me, I want Nigeria, I want President Tinubu and INEC to insist on the Electoral Act 2026. Though that to some reasonable extent, I think we should get it right in 2027 to avoid manipulations and vote buy.
Okay. I want you to look at it from this angle. The Electoral Act 2026 Electoral Act, it is not the making of INEC. It is the making of the National Assembly.
You're right.
Now, this agitation, this cry, what if it gets to the National Assembly and some members of the National Assembly buy into their complaint? Because what I want to say is that apart from the provision outlawing indirect voting, there are other provisions that parties must submit e-copy of their members and these are the provisions that we thought it was okay. In fact, at the wake of the Don't bill, I know that APC welcomed it, supported it. Now it's part of this IPAC that is coming for the review. What went wrong? Yeah,
many things went wrong, especially their selfish interest. You know, when you know that you've not performed up to expectation and there's possibility of people not voting for you at the coming primary election. So there's fear, especially for those, the incumbent office holders, political office holders now. They may not be happy, they may be entertaining that fear of uncertainty, of unknown, that what of if electorate turn against them. But by the virtue of the indirect voting, they have the money to buy their way. But now money will not count. So that will have raised this recent issue. But by and large, as I said, the president and presidency should maintain its stance on this so that history we have something good to say about them.
Okay, let's still talk about politics, and I'm going to the front page of a Guardian newspaper. Guardian says, ministers gauge support, popularity ahead of resignation deadline. We know that the presidency has given order that whoever is interested in elective position out of the members of cabinet should resign by the end of this month. And already this paper is saying, in fact, not less than 10 cabinet members are rooting to become the governors of their various states. And the paper is now saying they are already gauging their popularity and support back home. If they should throw in the towel or maintain their status quo as a cabinet member because they don't want to lose both.
Yes, no. It's not good to use already captured snail to stone bed, as Yoruba will put it. The snake can got lost and the bed will move. So they have to be careful. They have to calculate it very well so that they won't lose. As it is, well, to some extent, ruling party can still have a measure of confidence that yes, they will vote for them. But others, they have to look before they leap, just as they are trying to do. So they have to count, know what, go back home, do their homework very well, and look at what they may lose in case people turn against them. So I don't blame them. It's a matter of calculation. It's a matter of interest. So they should take their time before they resign.
When you say ruling party does not seem to have anything so much to lose, I want to a little bit disagree with you. You know, many of them that were cabinet members here in Abuja, they are not very popular at home. They may not be very popular at home, even despite the fact that they belong to the ruling party. I want to take an example. You know what Nigerians believe of Adelabu now?
Yes.
Because he sits as Minister of Power and Energy. And you know power is not the right home. In fact, people are angry that they are not getting enough power to drive the economy, to drive their social, and they are taking it up on him rather than the whole federal government as it were. So how popular will it be when he gets back home?
Yes. Why I said so was because, you know, the way APC have networked itself at the grassroots, they have that figure. Except something natural or divine happened, they have that structure, strong, that can move mountains. So that is on that basis only. I don't see, say, as individual, no, as individual, they may not, a person like the Minister of Power you mentioned may not get people's favor or backing, but as a party, the whole structure, they will try as much as possible to collapse the whole structure for him. So in that vein, there's no way he won't win. You know, it has happened during late President Muhammadu Buhari. Nearly everyone that contested that election won because people wanted Buhari at that time. So now, majority of Nigerians, going by the number of governors that have decamped into the ruling party, when you look at the whole situation, you see that it is likely there is reasonable advantage for the ruling party, for the president. And once the president got the victory, definitely the whole voting will go into that direction. That is how it is working in Nigeria. So it's not a matter of individual now, but as a party. So that is how Nigeria reasons. That is how the ruling party operates.
Okay, we're still talking politics, and I will take us to the front page of a Punch newspaper. This time I will be talking about PDP. Punch says PDP governors reject Wike bloc consensus chair. Following the crisis in the party, we now have two factions. We have the Turaki faction and we have Wike faction. Of course, the court has validated the position of a Wike faction, so they are presumed to be the owner and leaders of the party now. But the bloc, the Wike bloc, did something last weekend. They announced their consensus candidate for the National Working Committee, but the other faction say no, we won't accept that. What baffles me is that a few months into the actual takeoff of campaign and everything, this party is still being embroiled in crisis. They are not, in fact, they are talking about reconciliation sometimes in the last week, but I think reconciliation is breaking down.
They are their own problems, and they are causing themselves. You see, somebody went to court and won. You expect him to allow you to take the leadership of that party from him. It's not done. Now that they've lost in the court, I think the next thing for them is to stoop low. I maintain that they must stoop low. They have nothing to gain from the chairman and the secretary. What matters to them is for them having the opportunity to contest under the popular and known opposition party, PDP. So they should know that, okay, they should meet, they try to agree to meet at the center. They have to lose in order to gain. Politics, they say you lose some and gain some. Now, it has happened like this. Wike has decided to have his own people as the chairman and secretary. There are other positions left, and there are other things, relevant things, for them to pursue. So I think it's better for them to go to Wike. Wike, all right, now that you've taken the chairman and the secretary, what do you have for us? Okay, I have this. Oh, you can also do some. You can go a little bit. Give us this plus it. And they agree. Because that party, the credibility and the availability of the party to present candidates for presidential election, to me, is paramount. And it should be paramount to them. So all these flimsy excuses doesn't worth it. So it is that it's as if, as Yoruba will say it, efuni abedi, as if they've been caused that they should not unite. Otherwise, I don't see why they should insist that they must have the same right with Wike, who has spent a lot to get that leadership right from the court. So whichever way, that is what they want. If that ego can be so high that they refuse to stoop low and conquer, it's left to them. I just pity those who believe in them, the party members.
Okay, let's leave politics around alone and go to some economic story. And I take us to the front page of Vanguard newspaper. And Vanguard is writing, petrol marketers keep high price as crude drops. The report says the price of crude in the international market is dropping. But marketers, petrol marketers in Nigeria, both local and foreign, they're still maintaining high price as we have it in Nigeria. The paradox of this kind of crisis is that when you have crisis like this, income into the country earns more, while inflation takes the shine off whatever the economy gains.
Yes.
So what is the way forward?
Well, let me start from the fact that I don't own any filling station, but I always have feelings for the owners of filling stations. You see, it is very easier for us to say, oh, these people are making money, Dangote have reduced 100 naira from the pump price, they ought to have reduced it too. But we forget easily that this is business. These people are into it to make money. They've invested, they've used the money, their money, to buy fuel at higher price. Suddenly, it dropped. We expect them to also reduce it. And the Iran war is ongoing. Considering another fact that the price of the fuel from Dangote or wherever is dwindling, it's not stable. It is either 15 naira plus today, minus 20 naira tomorrow, by day after tomorrow it will be. So the market, the businessmen and women must be careful so that they don't run out of business. We have to consider them. Yes, we are feeling it. The increment in price is not favorable. However, these people have to be calculative so that they won't run at loss. They are business people. If eventually they begin to sell at reduced price, and immediately, just as soon as they began, the price goes up, what happened to their shortage? Who is going to subsidize the money for them to be able to buy another delivery with that high, at that high price? So whatever they are doing, they have to be business minded, because whatever they lose, nobody is going to compensate them. Why it is not favorable to us, but we just have to be reasonable. I think the whole thing lies with the federal government. What can they do to alleviate the general public from these pains or the increase in price? People have cited many options, but I think the whole problem lies with the NNPC. And it's not much about the NNPC, but lies with the condition of the world presently. Take for instance, if we ask NNPC to continue to sell crude to Dangote in Naira, as we speak, NNPC is facing challenge in remitting or paying some debts, loans in dollars. So NNPC need dollar to fund some of its commitments, and selling to Dangote at in Naira will continue to create such problem. Okay, now if NNPC decide not to sell to Dangote in Naira or in dollar, then the implication is that the pump price will increase. Who bear the brunt? What can government do? Well, maybe government can reduce the tax and levies from the crude. That also can will decrease the revenue generated by federal government. So I think in this situation we just have to be painstaking we have to be reasonable and try to bear it, because it is global problem, not only Nigeria.
Okay, it's a global problem. It is not peculiar to Nigeria.
Yes.
And I believe that government will do the needful, at least to alleviate the sufferings of the masses concerning that. Time is not our friend, but before we go, let's quickly address this issue. On the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, on the masthead, there's this minor story. Federal government apologizes to Nigerian over poor power supply. It is not viral. You heard the Minister of Power apologizing on behalf of the federal government that power supply has been very poor to the entire country in the last 2 weeks. In fact, leading to loss of revenue, loss of profit and everything, even to the manufacturers. The question Nigerians are asking now, does apology save us from our losses?
No. The power sector, that has been the problem. It's not today. I always get confused about what actually the problem is. We are aware that we have enough power, but to distribute is the problem. And recently, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu said, okay, he's bringing about GEMCO or whatever to distribute the already generated electricity. And NSC said, no, we don't allow that. Reshuffle, overhaul the whole system, so that now, since the NSC has refused a palliative measure, now they want government to go back to total overhauling, which will take as long as it could take. Maybe this is part of the problem. They insisted that government should not give such a kind of palliative to subsidy to the GENCO to be able to distribute the generated ones. They want total overhauling. Here we are today. So the minister that is promising in the next 14 days, let's see how far he can go. If he is able to solve the problem, maybe provide necessary transformers in the poles and all of that, then he's complaining of shortage of gas. So how are they going to do the pipelines and all of that? So the promise may not, the apology does not serve anybody any benefit. But the minister should know that this is a way of saying he has failed in his duty as minister, because he has not appointed yesterday or last week. So for him to have been unable to meet up to this time, he has failed. Apology doesn't matter now. So I think the whole thing lies on the table of the president to know what to do. If GENCO to him is responsible and they are ready to do the job, let the money be rolled out for them, and let's see how far they can go. And if it's total overhauling, then Nigerians should just wait and see the beginning, how far the overhauling can take us. But for me, I think the issue of palliative, there must be immediate, short-term and long-term measures so as to solve this problem.
Okay, I also believe that when we try various policies and various programs, one day we will hit it on the head and have make success of our economy. I want to thank you sincerely for finding time to be here again, even at short notice. Thank you very much. That is the program this afternoon. We'll be back tomorrow with a fresh edition. Bye for now.